Hi. So basically, the purpose of the interview. Before that, sorry, I'm jumping ahead. Hey,
Yeah.
what's up, guys? It's your boy Bada. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back to My Way of Life. And today we have our guest, Brenda Lee. She is the co-founder of the group Property Choice, but she'll get into it herself later on. And yeah, this is the interview we're having today. And I'll just let you know, and the people at home as well, like what the purpose of this interview. So it's basically to let her, Brenda, teach the not teach, but tell her story about how she became who she is and the struggles and the problems and the stories she has just from living her life. So myself, and the people that are watching at home can learn from what she has gone through. And so going off that, can you introduce a little about yourself?
Oh, thanks. Thanks for having me. Yeah, so I'm Brenda. I'm 33 years old. Um, and like you said, I'm a co-founder of Property Choice, which is working with property development, property investment, and property trading. That's mostly property trading, actually.
Yeah.
But I'm also the director of architecture for Beyond Architects. Um,
Oh,
Yeah, and that started, I guess, kind of 2018 or so. Property Choice started in 2015. So that's what I'm working on now. But my background is as an architect. That's
I see.
that was my career. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Very cool, very cool. So, um, I guess a good place to start would be where you started, just like as a person, I guess. Where were you born? Were you born in New Zealand or were you born
No,
somewhere
I'm
else?
Chinese. I'm
Oh, so you were
Chinese.
born, and what year did
Yeah.
you come to New
Um, I
Zealand?
I came here when I was 8.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
yeah, I see.
Yeah.
So
So my Chinese is still that of an 8-year-old.
yeah, it's kind of similar to me as well because I came to New Zealand because I'm Mongolian originally, and
Yeah.
I came at 11, so my Mongolian is also like the 11-year-old level. It's just kind of it's very
Yes.
weird. It just never
Yeah.
develops
Yeah.
past it. I see.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
Was that transition like difficult for you? Did you ever find like just like being coming to a new country, that entire learning a new language, all that? Was that like
Um,
different for you, or was it come
no.
natural?
It
Hmm?
was actually really easy. The only difficulty I had was I had this really, really short haircut. So like a bit longer than yours. And so
Yeah.
the kids thought I was a boy.
Oh,
So
okay.
that was my only problem that I had.
Okay.
And I was really naughty and ADHD and stuff. So it kind of
I
fitted.
see.
So that was the only trouble I had. But in
Oh
terms of
yeah.
integrating into a new country and stuff, that was relatively
Okay.
easy. I think when you're young, you kind of just,
Yeah.
you're quite carefree. Um,
Definitely. You care less. Definitely.
yeah,
I
yeah,
think out of all the list of problems you could have, I think being seen as a boy when you're 8, it's not the worst thing in the world, I
it's
feel
not
like.
the worst.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah,
Okay, I see. And then you graduated high school in New Zealand and then also university in New Zealand, correct? Yeah. And what university did you
yeah,
graduate?
correct. I went to Auckland Uni to study architecture. Mm.
I see. Okay.
So I finished that in 2012 with my master's. Yeah, it's a
Oh,
5-year
okay.
degree, so it's like a conjoined thing. Yeah,
Oh, yeah. So you did the 3-year bachelor and then the extra 2-year for the master. I see.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're a very educated woman. Wow. That's crazy.
Oh, I don't know about that, but
And then, okay. And do you have any hobbies, like anything you do just like in spare
oh
time to
dear,
have
you know,
fun?
it's yeah, it's really bad because of how much I work, I haven't developed too many, well, I haven't maintained many hobbies, but my main go-to hobby is playing games, video
Okay,
games.
yeah. Oh, what kind of
That's
games are you
that's
playing?
one. Sorry,
What kind of games do you play?
all sorts of games.
Oh, I see.
But usually it was mostly on PC, but I've also got a PlayStation and stuff. So pretty much everything, shooters, RPGs, and let's not go into that. But
That's not okay. All good.
let's not go into that. But that's yeah, one of my, I guess, stress coping hobbies.
I
Yeah.
see. Yeah, I think it is a very good hobby as well. It's very one of my hobbies as well. And I'm not trying to say like I'm as busy as you. Obviously, you're running two businesses, and I'm a second year university
Yeah.
student. But also, yeah, it is just a nice thing to get the mind off. You get into a
Yeah.
system.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah. Grinding
definitely.
away. I mean, it's good. It's good.
And yeah, well, that's very interesting. So I feel like I want to ask this. I think this is the question I've been trying to integrate into my interviews. Do you read books in general?
Yes. Yes. But I don't read anywhere near as much as I know I'm supposed to read.
Yeah, I
But
see. Definitely.
the benefit I have is my partner reads a lot. He listens
Ah,
to
I
a
see.
lot of audiobooks, and then I'm getting a lot of nuggets and stuff from him.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
see.
so that's really helpful. But back when I was employed, when I did lots of mundane tasks like
Yeah.
doing CAD and stuff as an architect, I did listen to a lot of audiobooks. Yeah.
Ah, I see. I think okay. And so, what is like the book you would recommend? That's like a one book you're like,
Oh,
this is a
gee.
good one.
Yeah, goosebumps. No, it depends on. I guess it depends on what you're trying to do. I mean, if you're a young person trying to change your life, or are you trying to start a business, or you're healing from trauma. So I guess it really would depend. But
Ah,
I
I see.
think what everybody needs to read just a little bit is "The Power of Now" by Eckhart Tolle. I think
Okay.
as a foundation, whatever it is you're trying to do or trying to not do in life, that's probably a good book to start with.
Power of Now. Okay, I see. I see.
Power Now.
That would be
Yeah.
nice. Because recently I did pick up like reading as like a thing that I'm kind of out of all the things like you're supposed to be doing, like going gym, all that, like the one thing I've been able to do and consistently integrate into my routine is reading. So I'm trying to
That's
like
really good.
yeah, I'm trying to get at least like 15 to 30 minutes of reading. And this is the book I'm reading right now. It's called How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Oh, yes, I've read that.
Yeah.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
really enjoy it so far. So yeah, I like what it
Cool.
yeah,
That's
definitely.
good.
It tells me
That's
a
the
lot
right
of
idea. I want to get 15 to 30 minutes, of reading in each day.
yeah.
But what you want to do when you end up doing is a bit different, isn't it?
Yeah, arguably I am procrastinating from other important things to be doing, but it's like
I
a
see.
better,
I
I
see.
think it's a better way to procrastinate, I feel like.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Then
Yeah,
play games. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And then there's a lot of books that it's like, I don't know, reading has been really nice to me. And even if you like, I'm not processing the entirety of the book, I feel like I'm still like, I can already tell like I'm like thinking better, like in a way.
Mhm.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, like, you're in first year of uni, but your education is only about your career,
yeah,
and so this is where you get the rest of your life education that no
exactly,
one teaches
definitely.
you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure,
Yeah.
definitely. So let's delve more back to your career. So I want to know, like, so you said Property Choice started in 2015, correct?
Yeah. Yeah. Correct. Yeah.
So why did you start it? I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this. This is something I want to get into.
Well, it didn't start as a company. It just started with property investing. So I was getting paid a grand total of $50,000 a year. Brilliant. And my partner was on even less at the time. So we were thinking, like, how are we going to actually secure our future?
Okay.
Like, what are we going to do? I had some money saved. I did this a little online business during uni on
Oh
selling
yeah.
jewelry and stuff on a website through Trade Me. Just did
Oh
some weird, like buying stuff
yeah.
on AliExpress, selling it.
I
So
see.
anyway, I had a little bit of money saved. He had some money saved, and we're talking about maybe we should buy a home. And then that conversation turned into actually let's look into investing and what does property investing mean? What does it actually mean? And then we did a couple of courses and stuff just to understand the
How you
idea
do it.
behind it. I mean, at that point, I didn't know what a mortgage was. I didn't know how to calculate interest rates. So it's like, didn't know anything, but I just knew probably I can't live off the small income that I'm,
Yeah. This is
getting.
not sustainable for a long time. Yeah.
It's not sustainable, and I want to buy shit. So.
Yeah. You want to live good.
Yeah. Exactly. So, and then we did some property schools and property courses and stuff, and then we decided to buy our first investment property, which is actually two houses on. Well, it's two separate houses, but they're connected.
Oh,
So
yeah.
that was our first two houses that we bought, and then from there we thought, okay, so actually all our money's tied up now. How do we continue? And then we just figured out ways, and we just kept going since. And that's 2015, and eventually that turned into not just personal investment, but property trading. And that's when the business side came in.
I see. I see. So it
Yeah.
started more for like personal reasons, and then just kind of exploded into what it is now.
Yeah, just investment. Yeah, I mean, it's still we're still investing a lot, but it's more like we've got doing renovations and property flipping, property development. So that's sort of where it's gone. Yeah.
I see. I am a little lost on what property trading is. Can you go
Oh,
into a
yes.
little bit what that is?
Yeah, so we buy houses that nobody wants to touch, and or houses where we can see there's clearly potential value or have issues, and then we renovate it, gut it, or get its consents, whatever it needs, and then we sell for profit.
Oh, it's like house flipping kind of thing.
It's flipping. I think property trading might be a American term. I think in New Zealand
I
it's
see.
more maybe property flipping.
Yeah, okay, I get what you mean. That makes a lot more sense. Okay.
Yeah.
I see. Wow. And so 2015, we were still working at 9 to 5. And I do believe because at my work I have a manager who also works at 9 to 5, and she talks about like the 9 to 5 life, and she makes a decent amount of money for her like her living situation now, but she was like, yeah, like, I can't do this for the rest of my life. This is not
Yeah.
this is not what
Yeah.
I'm trying to do for the rest of my life. And I was like,
No.
yeah, and
Yeah.
I've
I
heard a
mean,
lot of stories like that.
yeah. Sorry. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the 9 to 5 at all. And then
Yeah.
this is what I was saying to my sister the other day, who is recently started working. And she's like, oh gosh, I can't do this 9 to 5. It's you get the 9 to 5 confused with oh, I need to start a business and be fulfilled. Your 9 to 5 is not you being unfulfilled.
Yeah.
You're unfulfilled not because of 9 to 5, it's because of other things that's happening. So when you say, oh, I can't do 9 to 5, I'm unhappy. If you can't be happy now, you're not going to be happy later, no matter what you're doing. So the problem isn't the 9 to 5; it is whatever you think your output is, or the other stories that are going on.
Yeah, it's like if you feel like genuinely creating impact in society and doing well, 9 to 5 is completely fine. Like it's
exactly
like if you're happy, like it's pretty good.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I'm not doing 9 to 5 now. I'm doing what, like 8 to midnight.
Yeah. And
So
that's another thing people I feel like get confused as well. Because like most of the part-time jobs I was working is always ended up just by chance end up being like startup restaurants, business, that kind of thing. And the work hours that like my bosses and my managers are working, it's insane. They like started like 3,
yes,
like start literally in the morning and finish at night, and they're just always doing something, always something to do. And it's because at the end of it, there's no one above you to hold responsibility for you. It's all you. You're just thrown out into the world.
That's definitely quite scary. You're navigating. You're like, well, okay, so if something goes wrong, it's completely my fault. Great.
Yeah. And there's no one to be like, hey, help me. There's like, no,
exactly.
You sit down and just deal with yourself. And it's a very scary, very scary thing.
Yeah, definitely scary.
Sorry, I have questions down here. I'm not looking at my phone. I'm just letting you know.
Okay, no, that's okay.
And it's very interesting to like hear your story on like how you chose to start a business, because I feel like a lot of people like are in that mindset. There's a lot of media about like, oh yeah, like business is the way to go, but also it's good to understand like what you're getting into. It's a lot harder than people make it. It's like that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's easy money, passive income, and it's all fake. I feel like that's just not how that works at all.
I think, if you go into business going, okay, I'm going to make lots of money, it's called hustling, and you might be able to succeed for a couple of years, but you're not going to be able to get up on those really hard days. When you want to quit, you're not going to be able to keep going. So if you don't have a clear vision or a clear purpose in mind, when something comes your way, you'll find an excuse, or like, what, this market's not right. Let's do something else. That guy's making money, so it can't be money.
100%. Oh wow, it can't be money. That's a very nice thing to say, I feel like. So going back to, your busy schedule and you work a lot, like how does your daily routine looking like?
It's a little bit chaotic, and what I'm trying to do right now is do the Tony Robbins RPM process, which rapid planning process, where you actually focus on the outcome you want rather than what you need to do. Because if I focus on what I need to do, the most urgent things will come up. And with Beyond Architects, which is starting out, doing quite well right now, it's quite busy. And PropertyChoice is this changing market. There's a lot of things happening. If I just do whatever is screaming the most, I'm actually not going to move any closer to my goals. But I will get the day done, right? But I'm just not actually moving further. And so a bad day is I get up, I check my phone straight away, panic, and then I start calling people or replying to things and getting ready for, we've got a couple of staff before they start, just putting things in place and kind of thinking, okay, what's going to go wrong today and how am I going to sort that out? That's a bad day. And then work till nighttime. And then, a good day and how it should be is usually I wake up and I'm quite relaxed already. And I'm sort of just thinking about, okay, so what am I grateful for today? Because I think if you start your day with gratitude, every day that you wake up is a good day.
Definitely.
So
That
if
is
you
something
start
I've been
with
hearing a
that
lot recently.
mindset, yeah,
Yeah.
if you start with that, then you're less likely to get, chopped down during the day.
Yeah.
Then I don't jump. I try to my best not to jump onto urgent things first, and just think about, okay, so this is my week's goal. So what are some things at the end of tonight? How can I feel like I had success today? So like sort of thinking a little bit backwards, planning a bit ahead. And then usually I just start working. I mean, I've stopped going to the gym, which is gonna get started up again soon.
Yeah.
But so usually I just start working. If there's time, I often go out for lunch. And just try to, because I'm like always working, so just try to enjoy my time a bit during the day. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah.
It's very interesting what you said. Like, I think you said like, oh, you had a bad day, and then like you had a good day. And you like when you look at the comparison, the work is still being done. I think the only difference was like the mindset you had towards it. It's like one, it's like, oh no, things are going wrong. Like, what am I gonna do? And the other one's like, oh yeah, I'm happy with like this is good. You're calm, collected, you focus.
It's
like
absolutely right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, things are getting done, but sometimes the wrong things are getting done. Because if the question you're asking is, oh shit, what's gonna go wrong today? And what can I do to stop it? Whatever you ask, your brain is gonna answer. And you're gonna you ask a shitty question, you're gonna get a shitty answer. It's gonna be, oh, you better do these things so that something doesn't go wrong, out of fear, rather than like, how can I feel fulfilled at the end of tonight? If you ask good questions, it changes the answers you come up with, and then changes your action, and then changes your outcome.
Wow.
So you constantly have to ask good questions, and it's just so hard. You don't know you're asking yourself questions.
Yeah,
that's the problem.
That's a really nice line. I feel like when you said, you ask a shitty question, you get a shitty answer. That's a good one.
Yeah, and your brain is gonna answer everything. So if you ask yourself, I mean, people go, "What's wrong with me?" You're gonna find problems wrong with you. It's not a good question to ask.
Yeah, I see. Oh wow, I see. I went into this thinking I was gonna get more of like a career kind of like learning. I'm already learning more about life and all that kind of stuff. It's very good so far.
Well, you just tell me what you want me to talk about. I could talk forever.
And that's a good thing because I can ask a lot of questions. I feel like. So you mentioned that you work with your partner. That was something you mentioned. So is that on which side of which business are you talking about?
Mostly for PropertyChoice, the property side of things. Yeah. So he's the property guy, and he knows, a lot. He's always sort of learning and studying things to do with property, and yeah. With Beyond Architects, he is a director on there, but that's more but he's more high level, I guess. Helps me with business planning and things like that.
More macro based.
Yeah.
And you're more micro based. I see.
Yeah, I mean, I do all the day to day. He's obviously not from, doesn't do architecture, so he's not in that industry. So just on there as like a property help thing, because I mean the two really, they do help each other. The property side and the architecture side, they do quite come together quite well. When we do a property development with PropertyChoice, obviously the architecture side and my architects can help with that.
Yeah, there's a lot of skill. Yeah,
they're quite nicely. Yeah.
I was looking at like your website actually because I was on your Instagram, and very nice website by the way.
Which one? PropertyChoice one?
Yes, the PropertyChoice one. Yes. Yeah. It's a very nice website. I was starting to get nervous. I was like, oh my god, this one's actually really professional. I'm always gonna skip it.
No.
I think arguably, you are one of the most successful people I've interviewed so far. And
oh wow!
Yeah, it's a very big pleasure for me to be able to ask you all these questions. So I'm just letting you know that. I'm very grateful. And so, how long? I'm sorry if it's a little too private, I guess. How long have you been with your partner?
We've been together for 18 years.
Okay.
Since we were 15 years old.
Since you were 15 years old.
15.
Because you said you were 33 and then you've been together for 18.
18 years, yeah, since we were 15.
That blows my mind. That's crazy. Because like from being raised in a generation where like relationships, especially teenage relationships, are not something that like people take seriously, or they're like, oh, it's not gonna happen. Like how did that happen? Like
it's strange, right? Yeah, it's strange. Well, we were just really good friends at school, and then got together. And I remember he used to say, I really wish I met you later, because in our mind as well,
Yeah.
there's no way you can be together. So that's a really good example of limiting beliefs. Thinking at the time, there's no way we could be together. I wish I met you later. But yeah.
But then, yeah, you just kept going and you're
Just,
still
yeah.
going.
I mean, we definitely had our ups and downs. And actually, what really brought us closer together in the past, let's say 5 years or so, because obviously when you're kids, you're kids. When you grow up as different people.
Very
you're not the
different.
same people, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So what really, I think, made things really changed our relationship a lot in the like 5 years ago or so, is all the self-development work that he had just started doing, which obviously impacted me and I started doing. And all these things, if you're successful in your business, like truly successful and fulfilled in your business, most likely you're successful and fulfilled in your relationships too, or at the very least, you are able to find a fulfilling relationship, because it all comes back to having the right mindset and having the right mental place, that your mind is in the right place. So when you do that, I guess everything kind of falls in place a bit better.
I see.
Yeah.
That is
but it did
cool.
take a lot of work.
Oh yeah, 100%. That's like personally, I've only been in like one relationship myself, and it was like a 1-year relationship, and I remember thinking like, this is a lot of my time and energy is going into this.
Yeah.
I was like, wow.
Yeah. Yes. And I mean, we're working on our business together, so we're like in each other's faces all the time.
Yeah, exactly. Like you can't even like after you go to work and he's just there and you're gonna be with him for like 12 hours a day. If you can't work it out, it's not gonna go well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
funny,
and I think the point you make is about how business and like relationships are kind of like the skill sets required to run both successfully are kind of like similar. And
it's similar, yeah,
it's because I think at the core of it, it is about people, and that's one thing I'm realizing as I'm like talking to more people, is that connections and being able to like talk to people and being able to create relationships with people and communicating with them, I think is a very like core skill. And if you want to be like any kind of do anything realistically.
Well, yeah, I mean, you live with people.
Yeah.
Everything is made by people, and it's about connecting with them truly and trying to be authentic.
Being real.
Being real, and also just noticing what stories and what you are telling yourself when you're with somebody.
Yeah.
So it's always hints. That's why I said one of the first books I think people should read is maybe it's The Power of Now with Eckhart Tolle. I think just being completely aware of how you are being while you're being like that. So when you're with people, I think, and you're truly authentic, and you're not, putting up like a front, or you're not, your mind is not going, oh my God, this guy's so weird, or I shouldn't be here. Then if you can drop all of that, then you're truly with somebody. That person is the person you're talking to is the most important person in your life at that moment. And I think if you can, do that with people, then you create much more powerful relationships. And in the end, like you said, it's all about relationships.
Yeah. And yes, that's so true. And I think that I do try my absolute best. I think it has caused me a lot of trouble, but like I do believe I don't like lying. Like I don't like being the word fake, I guess. It's like for me, I feel like if I'm not, it takes too much effort to lie, low key. Like it's like it's so exhausting to like act like I'm somebody I'm not else. And so and it does cause me a lot of problems, and because I would be like very honest with my feelings. Basically, I'm someone who people call me like I wear my emotions on my face all the time. So like if I'm feeling not good, like you will immediately know I'm not having a good time. And I think that is like it has its benefits because I live my life a lot more carefree than most people. But I recently started understanding like oh okay, this also like I'm not the like I have to be empathetic and have to be more sympathetic of other people's feelings and all that kind of stuff as well. And that's something like I've been really understanding is this book actually like because recent like it talks about basically because it's talking about how to like talk to people. A lot of the advice it gives it's more like oh yeah like you should have to like listen to them, you have to genuinely be interested in other people. And I was thinking about it yesterday as I was working. I was like I was just like doing my my part-time job. I was like if I want to be good at talking to people, I gotta like care about people. And like that was like a really like small little like oh my God, that makes it so like stupid. Yeah, it's like stupid to say. It's like oh you're really duh. But like when you're so invested like in yourself and so self-interested, like it's really hard to like think of it like that. And
yes, and that's why so many conversations are cheap. because you're
Yeah,
just sort of
it's yeah,
just
exactly.
talking, but you're not. You don't. Maybe you don't care, and yeah.
Exactly. It's like, well, I don't really care what you say. I just want to say my thing and then just leave.
Yeah.
And that was something that I was like, okay, yeah. And that's kind of happened because as because I recently got promoted to a manager in my part-time job, right? Because I work at a
Oh,
karaoke bar, which
yeah.
I met you in.
Yes.
And
Of all places.
yeah,
Yes.
of all places, dude, very funny. And like I was like, okay, how am I gonna be a good manager? Because when I'm really good at the floor job and I do like do well, but I was like, okay, now I have to actually like tell other people how to do that, like what to do. And that's when I was like, okay, how am I gonna do this well? And I started like doing it for a while, and I was like, okay, it's not going like it was working, but it wasn't like as well as my other manager used to do it. And my manager was really
I
good at
see.
like, and I was like, okay, what's
Yeah.
the difference? And I think the big thing that she did was like, she was very like very caring, polite. Like there's a
Mm.
lot of things she did to just show that like she genuinely cared and she
Yeah.
wanted to get good things done. And I was like, okay, that's not that kind of approach I'm starting to have now.
Mm.
I see.
It's funny when you say about like going into management. A lot of companies promote, like say you're an engineer and you're a really good senior engineer. The
Mm.
next step for you in career progression is usually management, and then they'll just promote you into a management. But it's like promoting a really smart guy to be, I mean, getting him to become a teacher. Being a manager, being a good engineer, have nothing to do with each
Yeah,
other.
exactly.
And they don't teach you the skills of being actually a good manager. So
Yeah.
when you're communicating with your, say, as your employees or people that are, doing the work
Mm.
with you, it's not, we see it as, oh, okay, well, I'm the boss now, so I'm just going to tell you what to do. And it's like,
Yeah.
no, you got to make sure what they care about aligns with your company's vision or with what you want to get done, which means being sympathetic, empathetic, and understanding.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a very fine balance of like caring and then like it's still getting like work done. Like it's still getting results. And I think that's what the difficulties of being a manager comes through.
Yes. You have to motivate them. You got to motivate people, and you got to get them excited. I mean, like, you can motivate them for one day. It's like a warm bath, right? It'll just get cold. So how do you actually inspire people to keep them actually motivating themselves? So they have to see a pull. They have to see they're going somewhere. Or, you know what, I'm really keen to get this karaoke. Say you're the boss and you want to be the best karaoke in New Zealand. If you can't sell that vision to your employees, then you're going to waste time or spend a lot of energy trying to motivate them every day to get them to show up on time or do a good job or do things that they think, why would I do that? It's fine. That looks okay. So you really got to get people to see your vision. But the only way,
I see.
yeah, well, they have to believe in your cause, But for them to be able to do that, you have to understand them and make sure things do benefit them too.
Oh wow, that's actually really nice to think about. Actually, that being that. Oh wow, because sorry, I'm like going into thought. It's because like out of all the places I've worked, like this place is like I've genuinely like cared about working here. I work like barely above minimum wage. It's like a night job. Like like it's one of the only few places that I'm like, oh like I don't hate going to work, which is a very big thing. And I think and I always thought about like why that was. I was like, oh yeah, I like where I work, and people were like, what? That's crazy, It's like you literally clean like the most vile things in the world. You stay up till like 4 a.m. Like, what are you so liking about it? I think it genuinely is like I feel valued as an employee, and I think that's a very big thing. Like,
that's very
not just as an employee, just like as an asset, like more like a person. Like my boss talks to me like I'm a person. He like have good genuine conversations with me. I think that's like really what makes me want to come back to work.
It's so good when you have a good manager, then I mean, you know how to be a good manager yourself afterwards.
Exactly. Yeah, I have a lot more examples to like draw from.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, I have so we're running short on time, so I'll just finish you up with two questions basically. One more on the relationship side because I do believe I think what you have accomplished in the relationship department and like that is just impressive beyond belief. At least it's like that's unheard of for people, especially kids like people my age. And another one would be more about business related, more like life fulfillment, success related. So for the relationship question, what do you feel like is the number one thing that like the most important thing you believe is important in a relationship for a long-term relationship?
I think for a long-term relationship, it's a really good question. I hear people saying things like, we're falling out of love, or I don't feel like I love this person
The
anymore.
spark isn't there anymore. Yeah.
Well, yeah, they'll say something like that, and I think what people forget is, in the beginning it comes naturally. It's just there. It's your hormones, it's your body.
Yeah.
After later, it's something you got to exercise, something you got to work on. Work on as in, are you trying to love, or are you just expecting it to be there? And then are you loving with conditions, like, I love him, but he does this, he does that. That's not really, that's loving. That's like, I will give you love if you fulfill these conditions. I think in longer term relationships, or just in good relationships, if you can, what we talked about before about being empathetic and sympathetic, if you can really empathize with your partner and see them not as this, he should be perfect, or he should be like this, or all those expectations, if you can drop that, what Tony Robbins says, drop your expectations for appreciation, and everything changes. And if you can see them as just another human being or a soul like you, trying to do their best, you connect with them very differently than looking at them going, he used to do this for me, he used to do that, why doesn't he listen, why, all these expectations. And that resistance to what is happening is what creates pain in a lot of people's relationships, and creates distance. And you go, well, it's not actually working anymore, but that's probably not what happened. It's just what you used to bring to the table is no longer there. So people, if he's usually doing something like this in the past, you're like, it's okay, I'll still do this for him. You start to take that back, because you're like, it becomes a trade. You give me this. So I think the more we move away from the idea of trade, and the conditional stuff, and drop a lot of expectations, or talk about it more openly, that'll help you feel fulfilled as well. That's what it is all about.
It's very eye-opening, 100%. Very nice. It's very nicely put, actually. And then for the next question, it's just for young adults my age, basically in their 20s, just got into uni, or we're still in the midst of uni. Everything's confusing. Like, what's going on? What is like the number one advice you would give to like navigate that like space of like chaos and then adulthood? Just that phase before you get into adulthood. Like, what's the number one advice to navigate that?
I think is to trust in the process and thrive in that confusion, because you're confused unless you have a clear way to unconfuse yourself, which most people don't. Just enjoy it, embrace it. It is what it is. In every phase of your life, you think about, if you can remember as far back as being in primary school and feeling out of place, like, in the first few days, what were you supposed to do other than just be there? So I think it's the same thing. It's just to understand, as first of all, accept that you are in this fog, and secondly, know that obviously it's going to change later, and just enjoy that process. Don't think, I just got to get through this, and then I'm going to get a job, then I'll be happy, or get married, as soon as you think like that, I think that's how you set yourself up to failure. The biggest failure is to achieve but not be fulfilled. That's the biggest fail you can have in your life, right? So you got to be happy with what you have right now, or feel fulfillment. Find the joy in the chaos. There's a lot of things that you can enjoy about it, being in that confusion. You can try things, and you have people give you more excuses to start things and end things, things like that.
Chaos is fun. Chaos is very fun.
So I would say to embrace it, and if you have clear goals in the future, to definitely write those things down.
I see.
Write it down and move towards it.
Okay.
Thank you. It's going to be gone in no time. Uni years.
I guess you're right. Wow. I think this interview is arguably one of the best interviews I've had. I think everything you've said so far has been like so nicely said and communicated. There's a lot of nice like quotable lines you said. And I'm just like, I'm already like, I'm blown away, definitely. And so thank you so much, Brenda, for being in the interview and taking time out of your very, very busy schedule.
It's okay.
Being able to do this interview.
Thank you for having me.
100%. It's been 100% of a pleasure. And thank you so much. And awesome. People at home, if you want to check out what she's about, search Property Choice on Google. I think should come up. NZ Property Choice, and just see what she's about. Definitely a person that I 100% respect at this point. Just from a 40-minute interview.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Yeah. It's really rare to see young people like you taking charge of their life, and especially trying to inspire others. It's quite incredible.
Yeah. I think just the approach that I took was like, well, I'm struggling. There's definitely gotta be people struggling out there too. And maybe if I figure out something a little bit more from outside, if I get lucky and meet people like you and learn cool things, then it'll be pretty cool to like share them to other people as well.
Absolutely.
Understanding what that is.
Good work. Good work.
All right. Thank you so much. And
thank you.
Real quick question. This is on the side. Would you be able to put in a good word for me for your partner? I want to maybe just talk to him as well, because he seems to be very accomplished, very similar to you as well. If he's willing to do that, I would love to have him on an interview as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll let him know.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.